A very warm welcome. Thank you for joining us in another exciting episode of Township Rollers. We missed you guys, and thank you once again for having us. Today we are doing things a bit different. As you know, I am always on the screen, but today I am with the guys who are behind the scenes, and the purpose of this was just to get you engaging with us, or rather getting them to engage with us as to the technicalities that go behind making an episode for Township Rollers. I would like to firstly apologize for the guest that was scheduled for today. He couldn't unfortunately make it due to some emergency that came up, and so he had to quickly rush there, but the show must go on. So today I have, as I've alluded, that I've got the guys who are behind the scenes. I am not going to introduce them. They are going to introduce themselves to you. But I must say, these are the guys that make all this possible.
Thank you, Thusi. Thank you.
Guys, tell us, who are you and what are you doing?
Okay, sure. My name is KATLEHO MOGAMPANYANE. For those that know me, I do a lot of producing for the company. I do a lot of writing. I'm behind a lot of shows, and today we are the ones that initially came up with the concept of we're part of it, the conceptualizing of the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, name choose. I go by the name Kubaba.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a lot of things that I do in this place. The list of the things that I don't do in this place is actually small. I understand. Wow. But I'm Kubaba. I'm actually the brains behind Township Rollers, with KATLEHO. Yeah.
So initially, what was the vision behind Township Rollers? Because I know a lot of people, started saying Township Rollers, inviting a lot of guests, entrepreneurs. But what was the initial vision? What inspired the idea or the vision of Township Rollers?
I can say Township, as it says.
Sure.
Rollers, as it says. In the township, Kazi, we see a lot of people, Padco passes full of people coming to the suburbs to make that dough. Do you understand? So we decided, there's a lot of money in the township. A lot of money in the township. Do you understand? Yeah. Billions. So I think KATLEHO can just take over the rest, because I don't want to be like, I'm the only creator of the program.
Yeah. So when we were conceptualizing this idea, I remember he came to me as a director, and in my capacity as a producer, that Township Rollers is going to be executive producer, that is a show that so it's basically we are highlighting the unseen, right? We know, for example, you've got your taxi industry, right? It's got 15 million customers per day, right? And that's a whole, those are a group of people that are leaving to go to other places, but you're forgetting that all those 50 million people are leaving the township, right? But we've got people that are in the township selling their businesses. So we're like, why not expose those people so that even people from the suburbs could even take taxis or cars and go to the township? Because at the end of the day, we're forgetting that things start in the township. Or Mama Basegas, the people that have been grooming and making us who we are today. I mean, we go to your varsities, we go to wherever, but you're forgetting that it started with the small biscuit that your mom was baking just to make you money. So why are we now making it as of TV and everything has to do with all these big businesses, but you got to know the foundation and where everything started. So that's how Township Rollers came about.
Now, I want us to dive deep into the background behind, obviously, the brains behind Township Rollers.
Yeah.
I know that you gentlemen are from different backgrounds in terms of education and just generally the spheres of life.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys can literally take us through that so that we can further the conversation, because there's a point I want to drive here, but I cannot drive that until maybe you guys sort of give us when did or how did this all start? You finding yourself in behind the scenes, editing, producing, directing. How did it come about that KATLEHO found himself, writing, editing, producing, executive producing pretty much the content for most of the shows?
Honestly, I think when we are rollers. We are Township Rollers in our own respects. You understand what I mean? Before this, how I got into this space is through self-teaching, if I may put it like that. I'm a self-taught graphic designer. I'm a self-taught director. Actually, I'm a media house on the roll.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? But self-taught, as I say, from the townships, because of the passion. You understand what I mean? So that is what drove us to coming together as township rollers. You understand? So I don't know if KATLEHO can also elaborate more on his story on how he became a roller.
Yeah. So another main idea behind such concepts was that you have, for example, right, it's about the township, right? It's not about Guti, how you are as Umchita you speak Itsozi and all of that, right? You can be a township roller because I'm from Ekasi, but I predominantly speak English, for example. We went to these multiracial schools, we went to UC. But at the end of the day, there's something you guys gotta...
So you're from the township, but basically not from the township.
No, I didn't say that. Okay. I mean, like I said, like, hence I'm saying, the foundation is that it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter if you've got billions.
Yeah.
So it depends.
That's where it all started.
Who you were with, who you were friends with, how you grew up. Because I mean, I can honestly say, I grew up Ekasi, but I didn't grow up around a certain type of people Ekasi. I grew up around I wouldn't say Bafana Nami, but there was a group of people that I could click with as much as I'm also township. This is my way of embracing the township. Yeah, well, so we're like, why not just expose all of it? Not to think Ekasi is all about just hardcore and all that. There's a lot that comes out of the township. Anyone can come out of the township. A lot of people that are great in this world have come out of the township, but we do not expose that life. Yeah, so we only go back to Ekasi for those documentaries where there's all these bad things about Ekasi. But there's so much that comes out of Ekasi.
That is so rich and
billion. It's Ekasi on its own. It's worth $1 billion or even more.
Township economy is one of the greatest.
You look at Abo Maponya. I'm sorry to catch you there. You look at Abo Maponya and stuff like that. It's Amahotman. It's Amatime. I'm sorry to say Amahotman, but it's Amatime that made it within its township. It's Amahotman that saw an opportunity within its township. Do you understand? As we grow up to be taught to Guti, umama maka M17 needs to take a taxi. Ubaba ma M17 kumele athathe i-taxi. Ne. Do you understand? There is a lot of money within township. Do you understand? These people that the so-called people that still in the suburbs, where do they mostly wash their cars?
Yeah.
In
the township.
If anything, let's not forget one thing, Guti. If you are taking a taxi to the burbs or to Ijozi, you are taking money outside of the township to go sponsor another thing. And then you are growing the suburbs. If all the money is being pumped out.
So gentlemen, maybe if you could literally on that spot, just tell us maybe who inspired you or who inspires you, people who started literally from the ground. You mentioned the likes of Richard Maponya, who literally started with selling a makunya, and today we have Maponya Mall. You know, maybe Kat, you can tell us who inspires you from Ekasi. You know, people you look at and say, you know, this guy is from Ekasi, and look at him today.
Man, I basically don't really have people I would idolize, especially maybe people I would close. But I'll maybe use such a simple example of your Jeff Bezos, for example, the richest person in the world who just started a Karashak. I mean, I've always believed it doesn't take a lot for a big idea to boom. And so they just need support and the right idea, which I really want to do this. Because you might think these people, like when someone tells you their story, which this is how I started small, it doesn't make sense to you. But the guy who did it trip, Likao, I think his name is Likao, he tripped the sneaker that's just basically blowing up. He was saying just what January, he was in his garage doing the shoe. 6 months down the line, he's opening like a 14 store or something, and it's not just a small store, guys. It's a huge store, only for Ama sneakers. And such guys for me now, I see a whole lot of inspirations from them, and you try to, you can't copy them. You have to extrapolate just small ideas from what each of these big guys do, and then you say, as a collective, these people are my role models. I don't have one that is a specific one.
Let's zone deep into, like you shared, guys, different backgrounds, and obviously with the background comes the experience as well. Q told us that self-taught, right? And I want to believe that you are the ones that went to school and literally studied. But there are factors that, could affect both of you guys. Yes, you're from the township. Other one is self-taught. The other one, kind of went to extract, extract the information, and then after that, got the paper. But you would realize, I think you would agree with me that in as much as you could have some form of qualification, the experience does at some point kind of play an important role, because there are doors where you could enter because of the experience where Kat cannot enter, and vice versa.
Yeah,
You know, how has that journey, you know, how has that transpired in your journey?
To be honest, it's never an easy journey when a Thusi, especially when you do not have the qualifications, because in this world, for them to start looking at your CV or for them to call you in for interview, they must first look at your qualifications. Do you understand?
A piece of paper.
You understand? But at the end of the day, the person is the one that does the job. Do you understand? Real life problems, real work life problems. Do you understand what I mean? So in terms of experience, that's when you get to have an advantage, because there is no formula for work. One thing that I can tell you, we all face different problems every day. You might do IT. Do you understand? But the problem that I faced last week is not the same problem that you faced last week. What the textbook says is what if. Do you understand what I mean? So that what if puts a bracket. You understand what I mean? So me, that is the only difference between experience and the paper, because me now, I've dealt with real life problems on the workplace. But the disadvantage is, will they listen to you? Will they call you for an interview? But I don't know.
And my take on that is that not trying to come from a place of privilege, right? So what happens is that once you get it, I'm talking about a whole qualification, there is nothing that shows you how much is a piece of paper. Like, it says nothing about the work. I came in here, the industry, I say, as a writer, as someone who from school,
fresh from
paper tree, and all of that, right? But there's this environment that you never get ready for, especially when you're busy writing your papers, when you're graduating.
You're not prepared. So the system does not prepare for the real work.
Not even. Because what happens is that I feel like, I'm not saying it's ancient the way things were done, for example, your journalism, the way things were done back then, and how the textbook was shaped and all of this. Because once you get to the workplace, and there are different work environments.
Yes.
There are different companies that have their own way of running things. So what the books don't teach you is that these systems are not the same everywhere. So whatever you try to apply here might not work. For example, if we say manje, we've got machines that we're taught were used wherever. But then we get here, there's no machines. So does that mean now I can't execute my work because those machines are not here? This is where experience comes in. We have your people with experience to say, me na leo machine leo years no years, but I've seen different machines, and this is how I know it should operate. So they're even using a method that it's not even there. It's not even part of that machine, but because they've learned, they've seen. You know, with a piece of paper, bega lana, it works, and that's when you start seeing that experience works over your qualifications. Your qualifications help you in the beginning, like you said, to attract these people, even though if it's not your qualifications, it might be your experience, but something works. Because sometimes you can't just say they're looking for experience. Now, but they're looking at pieces of paper right now for some weird reason that, not even some weird reason, we know you need a piece of paper to tell you with this person. But one thing that doesn't also tell the employer is your personality. Some people have the pieces of paper, some people have the experience, but execution is also another thing.
It's another thing. And what I'm picking up from this conversation is that, in as much as you could have the paper and have the experience, what drives you guys within this industry is the passion and the love for it. So that becomes like the sort of a foundation and a common ground.
Straight. You know, one thing that I learned while growing up, or while coming up, is that there's a difference between street smart and book smart. Do you understand? You might come here, you book smart and stuff like that, but if you're not street smart, it's pointless. I'm telling you that in the real world. You understand? Because, okay, sharp, ukabali new, but if you are a par, you are a par. You understand what I'm trying to say? So it is what it is. As Kat said, it's just a piece of paper that attracts. More like you're a salesperson. You're attracting them to come to you, selling whatever that you're selling. But you're just taking chances. Whatever that they're selling might be rotten. Whatever that they're selling might be the best. I don't know.
Within the industry, I think with the experience that you guys have, because I think I found you here. So you are literally my seniors within the space. But what are some of the major challenges that you guys have encountered? Looking at where you're coming from and where you are in the industry itself.
Yeah, so let me just take this one. So what happens is that, like I said, there are things that your pieces of paper, like we're talking about, and not to even diminish having this piece of paper, because it's something that I appreciate having, but it doesn't prepare you for the workplace. Like, it doesn't prepare you for your colleague. It does not prepare you for your bosses. It does not prepare you for people under you. Now, Connor, you gotta know, Guti, if there's gonna be a person that maybe cleans around here, you gotta know how to treat that person equally. Now, Connor, you have to treat them the same way you treat your CEO, the same way you treat your chairmen. And those are things that you start seeing, Guti. Your background and where you come from are very important. Because what you were taught at home is very vital. Guti, the same way you don't treat people different. You've got guests, you've got this, you've got that. You don't treat anybody different. And Mina, the biggest thing that I've taught, what I've learned from this industry as a whole is that we don't treat each other different. We don't treat each other the same. Yeah, but we've seen that there are different behaviors of how people treat each other, especially within the industry. I'm famous, I'm a big guest, so treat me this way. I'm different from you status-wise, so I need to be treated different. And whatever we were taught at home, all of that, sometimes it just goes out the window, especially when you're in this industry where you sit here, you become famous, you become whatever, and then all of a sudden, you're not human anymore. And that's one thing I've learned, Guti. You need to just remember, Guti, whatever you were taught at home, keep it until you die. It doesn't matter how famous you get or how rich you are, just remain humble.
Umuntu, ngabantu, and these are the things that we are taught from Emakaya back in the townships. With that, we are taking a short break. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
I loved him. I really did. But I don't think love looks like this.
Ntate we, abuti we, o ikutlwa jwang ho shapa mosadi? O ikutlwa jwang ho bona ka o monna empa o se monna? Tlohelang ho shapang basadi. Re kgathetse ke lona. Ke re tlohelang. Enough is enough.
Kukhane niyokwazi ukuthi nabo abantu besilisa bayashaya. Bayahlukumezeka. Sekwanele. Masihlanganeni. Enough is enough.
Laat ons mekaar bystaan. Blank. Swart. Jy sien my vandag, jy weet nie wie ek is of waar ek vandaan kom nie. I am who I am today because of what you made me. We're saying enough is enough.
I knew she was being abused and I knew he was the abuser, but I looked away. I saw the hashtags RIP and I shared it without thinking that I could have stopped it. Say no to gender-based violence.
Enough is enough. Gender-based violence, it starts with me. Galaxy Universal Network, we stand together.
Feel the heat.
You said you love me. I do.
You sure?
Yeah.
Leave Miles Van you go.
Oh no, you don't! Get out of my way! Get out!
That is an abomination.
Oh, the love you promised me.
Do you have a boyfriend? Yeah?
Feel the excitement.
You don't know how I've been longing for this.
Feel the heat with Starsat. Feel the heat.
I love Adam Selman.
The girls are really thin. I think it looks very glamorous from the outside.
The life of a model in New York City.
There is such cool prints. So many.
You know, I'm buying this.
Look at me and all the selfie sort of thing. Honestly, I didn't really know that was actually a job. It just didn't occur to me.
Congratulations. Feel the excitement. Feel the heat with Starsat.
Welcome back to Township Rollers. Today we are doing things quite different. Today we have the guys who are behind the scenes, the guys who hold the vision for Township Rollers. Yes, I know that it's always me on the screen, but there's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes. And before the ad break, we were just talking about the challenges that you people like the producers and the executive directors face within the industry. KATLEHO narrated some of the challenges that he encountered, but now we're going to be speaking to Q. Q, what are some of the challenges that you encountered within the industry and over time with the experience that you have?
To begin with, when I Thusi, I was not guest today because someone cancelled. Do you understand? So those are just minor things that maybe people might see because we advertised, which, okay, someone is coming over. But the runaround that goes behind fixing that is kind of like one of the challenges that you face, because you face big egos, as you said. You face people that think they've made it, people that think they're stars. Do you understand what I mean? And same people that forget that for you to be a star, there must be something behind you. Do you understand? The people are behind the scenes. So all those cancellations, big egos, and the financial aspect of this industry. Yeah, if I may put it like that, that's one of the challenges. That's also one of the challenges.
One of the biggest.
Yeah.
Or is it one of the major, or just one of them challenges?
I think it's major because once you minus that aspect of your production or whatever, and then everything else becomes smooth, because the same more money, more problems, I beg to differ. I think there's a lot of problems that I can solve with that money that I can get.
For me, honestly, like, we cannot say money is not a part of this. Production, I feel like, is one of the biggest things. I mean, for example, let's just take it out of context of what we're doing now. Let's take it movies. Those movies that gross more money already inside, more money was pumped in, so we cannot say money. But again, it goes with the idea you have. There's a sort of some productions where it's so brilliant, the idea behind it, you might think there was a big budget, but it was so creative and needed so many creators and so many producers and directors. It was just like, it was a brilliant idea that was executed so profoundly. It looks big, but it was actually quite expensive. And then that's where it comes in. You need proper your proper production teams, your camera guys, just to make sure all of this the final product that people see at home is actually a beautiful thing.
In the right circle, like a right circle around you, because we've seen a lot of ideas being stolen because of you surround yourself with snitches, if I may put it like that, and so idea, you pitch it while maybe you drunk. Yes. You understand what I mean? You see your idea being played there and there. You understand what I mean? Those are the problems that we also face.
And we are taught that in school. It's called intellectual property theft.
Yeah.
It happens so many times you wouldn't even believe. We have so many examples of this that I can give you, that you pitch an idea to a person in terms of a conversation, but then it becomes big. And it happens so much in this industry, which it becomes sort of the new normal, which it's killer, because you might have thought of this one great idea to get you out of where you are. And if someone else who's got money maybe hears it first, they can sell that idea first. And it's really, it's scary within the industry, such things.
Now, what are some of the measures one can, implement to ensure that they kind of protect their intellectual property?
You need copyright, bruh. Like, you need to know what's yours. Let me just put it like that. Let's say, for an example, I'll give you a graphic designer. If you design a logo for a company, that thing that you should know, before you let go of that logo, there needs to be a write-up that, you know what, I'm handing over so property to a certain company. You understand? Or else, actually, this comes also as an advice to companies, bigger companies, to say, you know what, that copyright also protects them. Because me as a graphic designer, I'll give you that logo, and there's nothing written to say, I gave it to you. I own it. I still own it. 10 years down the line, you make money. I come back. I say, you know what? This was my logo initially. Do you understand? And then I claim for other things. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and trademark is also one of the really... It's really important to know how to own your product, that even when it goes out there, it should have you know, what resembles what says you. So Collect Universal Network, you've got Township Rollers. You gotta know, Guti, this belongs there. We cannot be seeing this show elsewhere and it's just normal. And we are taught, Guti, now. There's a whole book over this whole copyrights, making sure that your IP theft it stops and all of this. But it's really small things. For example, your music and all of this. You gotta know what you gotta register your song. You gotta do this. You gotta sign papers. People. We are so caught up in wanting to make money so quickly that we forget that we really just
crucial.
forget that
it's a heat. Send him to this, send him to this. You understand?
And you find that, for example, the biggest song, Sister Petina. I mean, it's the story behind that is really so sad. Royalties don't even still go to that guy, and you've been singing this song since I was a kid. So it's one of those things that it helps. For example, if you didn't go to school, have someone in the industry who knows. If you went to school, listen to the corner. There are always different ways to learn and how to protect yourself and your craft.
So what we are finding in the nutshell here is that you need to have some form of information and knowledge about how you go, but don't be caught up in just wanting to make money and lose the crucial things, because those crucial things are the ones that will, at the end of the day, come to backbite you as well.
That's another thing that we wanted to take out of the township. Because you can still love your neighborhood, you can still love your township without loving poverty.
Definitely.
Do you understand what I mean? So my point is, even though you're from the township,
the mentality,
think
beyond.
A lawyer out here, just consultation. I'm sure you can afford that. If you can buy a sneaker, a Jordan, 10,000, whatever, 2 point something, just to flex, you might as well, to protect yourself, you might as well hire that lawyer. Akboni say, read through the contract that you're given. Do you understand? If you need advice, bro, these people, they're not so expensive, if you want to put it like that. So,
and it's an investment. Let's look at it in that sense. You are trying to protect your product. Nakona, for example, will use, they call, I'm not sure the proper term for them, but they call amashangan bags, lawa, colorful and all that. We are now seeing Versace producing something similar to this. Guys, if there's one thing that says Township or Ikasi or all those things are ours. But we're now seeing someone else sell it to you for 10,000 rand. You're like, why? How are these people just basically taking all our ideas and using them? Because they know. And Nakon, I think it's also a mentality of people, right? People have this thing where if it's got a brand of something else, it's different. It could be the same shoe, it could be the same everything.
Same material,
we have been brainwashed to think that indoor has got something that's bigger from outside of the township. It's basically better, it's better quality. But you've got so many things of Abu Mama's Twingelis from a small kid.
We're seeing a reinvention of those things right now, and they are being sold back to us. Those things started
at a very high cost.
That's the thing that I'm saying, like, it's the rich. The rich, their mind can enrich, but do you understand? The thing is with the poor, their mind can switch from the ghetto. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's about switching from the ghetto while you're still within the ghetto.
And you don't have to make money and move, to be honest. You don't have to always make money and move to the burbs.
So in these last few minutes that we have, gentlemen, tell us where in the next 5-10 years, where do you probably see yourself in terms of within the media space, and looking at creating business within this industry? How can you separate, move from being employed to creating your own business within this industry?
I'm gonna start with this show. First thing is first. I want to see Township Rollers being African rollers. If you get what I'm trying to say.
Interesting.
Vision being a lot of resources in Africa. That is what I want to see. Africa enriching Africa, having our own resources priced in African currency or whatever, having our own things circulated amongst us. Do you understand? That is my whole idea, to open up African minds, to say, you know what, guys, man, guys, we're stepping on diamonds just to get to gold. Do you understand? That is what we're doing, basically. And this thing is just right here. Do you understand? We don't know the value of what we actually have. Do you understand? That is what I want with this show. And then after that, I will follow. I'm sure when that show is there, I'll be there.
You'll be there. Interesting. Mr. Mogampanyane.
And with me, I'm more of a, I've always wanted to create a whole production, like make it bigger. And for me, it's always a matter of why can't we use our own people? I mean, for example, we celebrate so many of our people that go overseas, but I'm like, why can't we grow the industry to be as big, even if a person from that side comes this side? They are celebrated for coming here. Yeah, but not the other way around, where it's always like, did you see who went overseas? Trevor Noah is now hired that side, so he's the biggest thing to come back. Masaka Vagashile. Why can't it be just good? You are big in here, you've made enough money here, and you stay here, and we keep our local talent and whatever. Say, for example, we say he's the best comedian out here. He's now born and bred in Africa, but he's living in America, and he's now made it because he's in America. How is it that everything of ours that is big has to go out? And he only grew in value, for example, once he left. You understand what I'm trying to say? Why can't we build and have so much of our own diamonds shined in our own continent? Because we created him. His stories that he tells, if you listen closely, I'm going to use Trevor Noah as an example right now. The stories that he tells is how he grew up. And everything is based on the South African stories, everything, your Jacob Zumas, your Malemas and everything. So why can't we use that same content and grow him here so that we come up with shows, movies that are going to benefit our same people, and not something that once he's our gem, let's take him out of this and make him better. And he's only better when he comes that side. So my idea of a production company is create something that rivals Hollywood in our African continent.
So, gentlemen, just lastly, can you just give advice to people who are watching right now before we wrap up and close? What are some of the advice you could give to people who are watching right now from the townships, who are interested in the media studies, who've heard your challenges? What are some of the advices you could give?
As I say, there's no formula to this thing. Do you understand? I'm tired of Abantu that to be coming here and telling me I started a restaurant with two cubes of ice. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? All I can say is passion. Passion drives you to wherever that you want. I can tell you go and study it after, but if you don't have the passion, you don't have the passion.
Mr. Mogampanyane?
Man, I basically just echoing the same words, Guti. Like, I'm a writer, right? But I could never try to tell you, oh, it's okay, this is how you write, because it has to come from within, first of all. And then you're nurturing a talent, or you're nurturing what already exists. So sometimes it's hard to give someone the advice, because I'm going to base it on what I can do and how I really nurtured my talents. I did this, and it worked for me. We are all different people. There's over 7.5 billion of us, and there's no one advice to say this is a story to become rich, this is a story to become this. I can tell you my story, inspire on all of that, but I'm not going to give you a formula to say, this is what I did, 5 o'clock, and this is what worked for me. So for me, I'm just like, stay true to yourself. You know who you are, you know your talents, you know what you're good at. And if you find Guti Indo, you're good at it, but you're not sure, try to pursue, try to see what happens. And if not, I care. But point is, stay true to yourself.
Time really flies when you're having fun. Unfortunately, this is where our show will end for today. But we promise you more of these gentlemen next week on Township Rollers. We love you. Bye-bye.
Take this opportunity to say, hi, Ma. Hi, Dads. Hi, Taylor. Katie loves you.
Ciao.